Are you suffering from pain or clicking at the front of your knee or just behind your kneecap and you're wondering what's going on? Maybe you've been to the doctor and they told you that you have a patella tracking problem and you're wondering what on earth that is. If that's you, this video will give you the answer. My name is Harlow and I'm the Over-Fifties specialist physio here at HT Physio in Farnham. And today we're going to be talking about patella tracking, why we should care about it, what it means, and how to fix a problem. So before we dive into the meat and bones of the video, please do like the channel and the video as well, because it really helps me to reach more people. And you can turn on notifications just below this video, which will help you to know exactly when our next video comes out. So let's talk about patella tracking and what it means. So if you hadn't figured out already, patella tracking refers to the patella, which is the kneecap. And on my knee model here, you can see the kneecap. It actually floats above the thigh, but it's attached to muscles here. So a tendon joins it to a muscle, and then you have another tendon that joins it to the bone down here. The muscle up here is your thigh muscles, your quadriceps. So these are at the front of the thigh, and when they contract, they pull your kneecap upwards, and then that pulls the shin upwards as well, which allows you to straighten your knee. So that's how the patella is joined onto the bones. It moves against this bone here, which is your thigh bone called the femur. And if I move the patella to one side here, you can see that there's a very specific groove which has been dug out into the femur, okay, which the patella sits quite nicely in. So when you bend your knee, it moves directly up and down inside this groove. And the groove is perfectly shaped when you look at the patella down here. So the patella is shaped like almost like a heart, and it has a fold in the middle. And then if you look at the groove here, if you can see that, it also has a hollowed out space where the nodule of the patella can run up and down. So it's perfectly fitted together. Now, when we say the word patella tracking, what we mean is how well the patella moves within that space. So if someone was to say your patella tracking is perfect or fine, it means that the kneecap is perfectly moving up and down within the space. It's not going to the left or the right. Now, when we have an issue with patella tracking, we call that patella maltracking, which means it's not quite tracking correctly. And how that looks is the patella can either be moving slightly to the right or slightly to the left as it slides up and down. Now, if I just hold it there and then I try to bend the knee, can you see what's happening to the model here? It's not happy. These two bony surfaces have come together, they're rubbing, and then what that causes is irritation and wear and tear behind the kneecap and on the thigh bone as well. Now, the first symptoms of this happening are often pain at the front of the knee, clicking when you bend and straighten the knee as well. You might get swelling across the front of the knee, so big puffiness underneath the kneecap too. It can be tender to touch. It can hurt to fully lock your knee out like this or to fully bend it. And one of the most common signs of this problem is pain when you're walking downstairs. The reason it tends to hurt when we're walking downstairs is because we're using the thigh muscles in such a way that they compress the kneecap onto the thigh bone. So if we have any of those symptoms, you could have an issue with patella tracking. Now, what can cause this problem in the first place? Well, there are a number of different causes, and most of them are what we would call mechanical. So they're to do with the way that you move, and they're to do with the way the leg is aligned. So the first cause of a patella tracking problem is weakness in the thigh muscles. Now, the quadricep muscles attached to the patella, there's 4 of them, and when they contract, they pull the kneecap up. Now, if we have a problem with the way they contract or they're not very strong, they don't have as much control over the kneecap, and that allows it to slightly move either too far to the right or too far to the left. Either way can cause problems. So if you have weakness in your thighs, you have a risk of patella maltracking. Now the second cause is weakness in the hips, in the gluteal muscles. And the gluteal muscles sit this far up in the hip. If this is your knee, they sit up here in the hip. So this here is the muscle we're talking about. It's on the side of the hip. And this muscle is responsible for keeping your leg in alignment. Now, if this muscle is not working when you're walking, what can happen is your leg can just slightly fall inwards, okay? Which means that instead of your leg going vertically down, it goes slightly inwards. And it can give people the knock-kneed appearance. But sometimes this can happen and people don't see a difference at all because it's very subtle. But even a subtle weakness there can cause problems with patella tracking. So if you have weakness in your hips, that's one of the most common causes of a patella problem, which is why if you came to see me at my clinic, one of the first things I would look at with this issue would be what the hips are doing and how strong they are. So that is one of the best ways to fix it, to strengthen up that muscle group, because it improves the alignment of the leg. If this bone's not aligned, this bone, doesn't matter if it's moving up or down perfectly, it's still going to be outside of the groove. So it's very important we fix that. And then another problem that can cause patella maltracking is tightness in some of the surrounding muscles. So specifically tightness in the thigh, because if you've got thigh tightness, it can compress the kneecap down into this groove and make it rub. And also tightness in the calf, because if you have calf tightness, it affects the entire mechanics of the knee and it can cause this kneecap not to move well either. So those are the most common causes. And the way we would fix a patella maltracking problem would be, first of all, to strengthen the thigh, secondly, to strengthen the hips, and then thirdly, to improve the mobility and flexibility of all the muscles in the leg. So it's almost a three-pronged approach, and then we would look at getting people back to the activities they're missing out on. Now, I'm not going to go into the exercises to fix this problem in this video. We have lots of other videos on the channel which cover that topic, and very soon there will be another dedicated video on treating patella maltracking. And that's all I've got for you today for this video. Hopefully that's given you some idea as to what's going on with your knee. If it's helped, please do leave a comment because I love to read your feedback. And if you'd like more from me on this kind of topic, you can always pick up a copy of my book. It's called Thriving Beyond 50, and it will give you loads of tips to help you with knee problems in your 50s and beyond. Anyway, that's all I've got for you today. Thank you very much for watching. I really do appreciate your time, and I look forward to speaking to you on the next video.